Hello ladies and gentlemen, Snowflake here, and welcome to another episode of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Once again, we'll be carrying on with some Solstheim adventures, but before we go on to that, I just wanted to remind you guys that I do a thing called Snowflake Sundays, where you guys can vote for the content you want to see every single Sunday. I'll leave a link to a form where you can vote in the description below. You can also join my Discord server, link there as well. And the link to my form gets posted there every week, so you guys can always vote for what you want to see. So you guys would submit your votes, and I would randomly pick one of the votes, and that will be the content I do for the following Sunday. Now, to recap last episode, we completed the quest Unearthed, which was about a dragon priest named Azadal, and we had to do an excavation of this place called Colbjorn Barrow, where apparently there was some information about him and some potential relics. There was a guy called Rallis who was at the barrow who convinced me, let's say, to fund his excavation. And the quest went through various phases of funding his excavation, then clearing out a bunch of Draugr because they'd killed all of the workers, funding it again, killing more Draugr, and eventually the miners and mercenaries and whatever got to the bottom of Colbjorn Barrow, where we discovered that Rallis had actually been, or at least he claims to have been, mind controlled to sacrifice some of the workers to help Azadal return. I had the option of either killing him or sparing him. I chose to spare him. His story seemed believable enough. Like, if he was going to sacrifice a bunch of people, then I don't know why he would have called me back to the mine one last time, unless, I mean, it is possible that Azadal thought he could beat me. Or that he thought... Anyway, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and we let him live. We had to spend 11k gold on that excavation, but it was pretty fun, like slowly uncovering all the different places. And then finding some hidden... He had his own armor set as well, which was pretty cool. His own unique armor set, which we found. Yeah. That was pretty much it, or at least that's all I can remember. It's been a while since I recorded that episode. But yeah. Also at the end of that Unearthed, we found a black book, which was called Black Book Filament and Filigree. Which is what we're going to be exploring in today's episode. Normally, I don't go straight into something that we found in a previous episode, but today, we've got a few Black Book quests, and I feel like doing this one, so we're going to be doing this. I read the Black Book called Filament and Filigree, and found myself in Hermaeus Mora's realm of Apocrypha. I should uncover the knowledge hidden here, or read the book again to escape. And we did read the book, well actually I just died in it. I didn't realise I could just read the book again and leave. Maybe I'll do that next time rather than killing myself. So yeah, we're going to explore this black book and learn about its hidden knowledge. I believe this will only work if I'm in Solstheim, if I remember correctly. Yeah, a vision of Solstheim swims before your eyes and then is gone. So, oh, I didn't realise we'd get a screen rumble effect. Okay, we have to go to Solstheim or this won't work. We're very close to level 41. So we should probably get there probably today. If not, probably at some point this week.
Talk to Captain Gowland if you're looking to book passage.
I want to book passage somewhere, alright, but I don't think Captain Gowland's going to be able to take me to where I want to go. Here we go.
Captain Gowland does the business. Not again. I'm just a ship's man.
I love how your follow is just like, not again. Okay. I think last time we fell off here to die, so we could just come back to the real world. Okay. It's quite... Ah. Okay. So there's some darkness here, and the darkness hurts us. That's good to know. Oh, I got a book called Three Thieves. We can get a skill up from it, so I assume that's one we've read. And then I can only assume that the book... Ah, it's not on my list. Maybe it's not a skill book. Three Thieves by Anonymous. The problem with thieves today, said Ledos, is the lack of technique. I know there's no honor among thieves, and there never was. There used to be some pride, some skill, some basic creativity. It really makes those of us with a sense of history despair. Imogen sneered, slamming down his flagon of grief violently on the rough-hewn table. Vec, what do you want us to say? You asked us, what do you do when you see a guard? And I says, stab the fetcher in the back. What do you prefer? We challenge him to a game of chits. So much ambition, so little education, said Ledos with a sigh. My dear friends, we aren't mugging some Nord tourist fresh off the ferry. The Cobbler's Guild Hall may not sound intimidating, but tonight, when the dues collection is housed there before being sent to the bank, the security is going to be tighter than a Quama's ass. I don't know if I want to know what a Quama is. You can't just stab at every back you encounter and expect to make it into the vaults. Why don't you explain it specifically what you'd like us to do? Asked Galsire calmly, trying to keep the tone of the group down. Most locals at the Plots and Plaster Corner Club in Telarune knew enough not to listen in, but she knew better than to take any chances. A common thief, said Ledos, pouring himself more grief, warming to his subject, sticks his dagger in his opponent's back. This may slay the target, but more often gives him time to scream, and drenches the attacker with blood. Not good. Now a good throat slashing, properly executed, can both slay and silence a guard, and leave a thief relatively blood-free. And after all, after the robbery, we don't want people seeing a bunch of blood-soaked butchers running through the streets. Even in Telarune, that's likely to warrant suspicion. If you can catch your victim lying down asleep or resting, you're in an excellent position. You place one hand over the mouth with your thumb under the chin, and you use your other hand to slit the throat, and quickly turn the head to one side so the body bleeds out away from you. There is a risk here of becoming bloodstained if you don't move the head quickly enough. If you're unsure, strangle the victim first to avoid the blood that tends to spurt out, and 3-foot jets when someone is stabbed while alive. A very good friend of mine, a thief in Nissus, whose name I won't mention, swears by the strangle and slash technique. Simply put, you grab your victim's throat from behind, and while throttling him, you batter his face against the opposite wall. When the victim is thus rendered unconscious, you slash his throat while still holding him from behind, and the risk of staining one's clothes with blood is practically non-existent. The classic technique, which requires less grappling than my friend's variation, is to place one hand over the victim's mouth and then saw through the throat in 3 or 4 strokes, rather like playing a violin. It requires little effort, and while there's quite a bit of blood, it all jets forward away from you. There's no reason when one knows one is going to be slitting some throats not to take some precautions and bring some extra equipment. The best neck hackers I know generally carry a bit of wadded cloth on the outside of their knives to keep blood from getting on their cuffs. It's impractical with this sort of assignment. When you're only anticipating 1 or 2 victims, nothing beats throwing a sack over the target's head, drawing the string tight, and then supplying the killing blow or blows. Emmeline laughed loudly. Can I see a demonstration sometime? Very soon, said Ledos, if Galsire has done her job. Galsire brought out the map of the guild house freshly stolen, and they began to detail out the strategy. The last several hours had been a whirlwind to all. In less than a day, the 3 had met, formulated a plan, bought or stolen the necessary ingredients, and were about to execute it. Not one of the 3 was sure whether confidence or stupidity were driving the other 2, but the fates were aligned. The guild house was going to be robbed. When the sun set, Ledos, Galsire, and Emmeline approached the cobbler's guild house on the east end of town. Galsire used her caches of stone flour to mask their scent from the guard walls as the 3 passed over the parapets. She also acted as lead scout, and Ledos was impressed. For someone of relative inexperience, she knew her way through shadows. Ledos' expertise was demonstrated a dozen times, and the guards were of such a diverse variety, he was able to demonstrate all the means of silent assassination he had developed over the years. Emmeline opened the vault in his unique and systematic method. As the tumblers fell beneath his fingers, he softly sang an old dirty tavern song about the 99 loves of Boethia. He said it helped him focus and organize difficult combinations. Within seconds, the vault was open and the gold was in hand. They left the guild house an hour after they entered. No alarm had been raised, the gold was gone, and corpses lay pooling blood on the stone floors within. Well done, my friend. Well done. You learned well, Leto said as he poured the gold pieces into the specially designed compartments in his tunic sleeves, where they held fast with no jingling or unusual bulges. We'll meet back at the Plot and Plaza tomorrow morning, and split up the bounty. The group parted ways. The only person who knew the most covert route through the city's sewer system, Ledos, slipped in through a duct and vanished below. Kelsaya threw on her shawl, muddied her face to resemble an old Valar fortune teller, and headed north. Emelian headed east into the park, trusting his unnatural senses to keep him away from the city watch. Now I teach him the greatest lesson of all, thought Ledos, as he's stealing the money. As he sloshed through the labyrinthine tunnels of sludge, his Grant was waiting where he left it at the city gates, making a laconic lunch of the chokeweed shrub to which it had been leashed. On the road to Vivek, he thought of Galsai and Emelian. Perhaps they had been caught and brought in for questioning already. It was a pity he couldn't see them undergoing interrogation. Who would break under pressure first? Emelian was certainly the tougher of the two, but Galsai doubtless had hidden reserves. It was merely intellectual curiosity. He thought his name was Ledos, and he was meeting him at the Plot and Plaster. The authorities wouldn't therefore be looking for a Dunmer named Saphis, celebrating his wealth miles and miles away in Vivek. As he prodded his mount forward and the sun began rising, Saphis pictured Galsai and Emelian not undergoing interrogation, but sleeping the good deep sleep of the wicked, dreaming of how they would spend their share of the gold. Both would wake up early and rush to the Plot and Plaster. He could see them now, Emelian laughing and carrying on, Galsai hushing him to avoid bringing undue attention. It would take a couple flagons of grief, perhaps order a meal, a big one, and wait. Hours would pass, and so would their moods, the chain of reactions that every betrayed person exhibits: nervousness, doubt, bewilderment, anger. The sun was fully risen when Saphis reached the stables of his house on the outskirts of Vivek. He reined in his guar and filled its feed. The rest of the stalls was empty. It wouldn't be until that afternoon when his servants returned from the Feast of St. Realms in Nissus. They were good people, and he treated them well, but from past experience he knew that servants talked. If they began to connect his absences with thefts in other towns, it was only a matter of time before they would go to the authorities or blackmail him. After all, they were human. It was best in the long run to give him a week off with pay whenever he was out of town on business. He slipped the gold into the vault in his study and went upstairs. The schedule had been tight, but Saphis had given himself a few hours to rest before his household returned. His own bed was wonderfully soft and warm compared to the dreadful mattress he had to use at the Canton Teller room. Saphis woke up some time later from a nightmare. For a second after he opened his eyes, he thought he could still hear Emelian's voice nearby, singing the 99 loves of Boethia. He lay still in his bed, waiting, but there was no sound except the usual creaks and groans of his old house. Afternoon, sunlight came through his bedroom window in ribbons, catching dust. He closed his eyes. The song returned, and Saphis heard the vault door in his study swing open. The smell of stone flour filled his nose, and he opened his eyes. Yep, here, they found you. Only a little of the afternoon sunlight could pierce the inside of a burlap sack. A strong feminine hand clamped over the mouth, and a thumb jabbed under his chin. Just as his throat opened and his head was shoved to the side, he heard Galsai in her typical calm voice. Thank you for the lesson, Saphis. There we go. Okay, this is going to be annoying. Right, quick save. I mean, it does damage pretty slowly. Oh, still in the dock. Alright. Okay, very nice. Oh, this is a chest, isn't it? Yeah, we've read this. Oh yeah, there's loads of books in this place, obviously. It's Apocrypha, the Land of Knowledge. Old Ways, War of the First Council. Old Ways, we've read. War of the First Council. We have not read. Okay. And we got Master Robes of Alteration. Very nice. Alright, let's read War of the First Council by Agrippa Fundilius. This account by the imperial scholar Agrippa Fundilius is based on various imperial and Dunmer sources and written for Western readers. The War of the First Council was a First-Age religious conflict between the secular Dunmer houses Dwemer and Dagoth and the Orthodox Dunmer houses Indiril, Redoran, Dress, Hlalu, and Telvanni. The First Council was the first Pan-Dunmer governing body, which collapsed over disputes about sorceries and enchantments practiced by the Dwemer and declared profane by the other houses. The secular houses, less numerous but politically and magically more advanced, and aided by Nord and Orc clans drawn by promise of land and booty, initially campaigned with great success in the north of Morrowind, and occupied much of the land now comprising Redoran, Vardenfell, and Telvanni district. The Orthodox houses, widely dispersed and poorly organized, suffered defeat after defeat until Nerevar was made general of all house troops and levies. Nerevar secured the aid of nomad barbarian tribesmen and contrived to force a major battle at the secular stronghold of Red Mountain on Vardenfell. The secular forces were outmaneuvered and defeated with the help of Ashlander scouts, and the survivors forced to take refuge in the Dwemer stronghold at Red Mountain. After a brief siege, treason permitted Nerevar and his troops to enter the stronghold, where the secular leaders were slain and Nerevar mortally wounded. General slaughter followed and houses Dwemer and Dagoth were exterminated. Nerevar died shortly thereafter of his wounds. There, 3 of Nerevar's associates among the Orthodox houses, Vivek, Almalexia, and Sophasil, succeeded to control of the recreated First Council, renamed the Grand Council of Morrowind, and went on to become the God Kings and mortal rulers of Morrowind, known as the Tribunal or Almcivi. An extra scroll of invisibility. I do want to double check that there's nothing I missed. So let's see. Let's we must have a light spell, yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Whatever ruined bit was here. I think I killed it. Alright, we'll wait for you to expire. So I kind of want to sneak up on that guy. How long is it for? 60 seconds. Alright. You've got 2 of them. One of them is a Seeker. I don't remember what the other one's called. Have we done? Oh man. Need some food. Sweet rolls. Alright. We still need some healing because we're quite low. Venison chop. Venison stew, why not? Some healing, vigorous healing. Ow. Am I okay? Am I dead? We're about to be dead. Yeah, quick, quick, quick. I'm not even sure if I needed to do this, but... Okay, let's... Stop whipping me. Okay, Secret Remains. Red Book of Riddles. I'm pretty sure we've read that one. Indeed. Okay. Oh wow, this is it? Oh god, I'm not even using both my weapons. And I failed to save earlier. Well, there's the level up. Alright, let's reload that. Of course, we don't actually die in a proper, do we? Lurker Vindicator, though, that is one tough cookie. Jeez. Oh, I'm dead. Okay. Oh no, level up, level up. Yay. Let's get some health. We need some health. What do we want to skill up? What are the better one-handed ones that we're missing? While sprinting, I don't plan to sprint. Backwards power attack. Paralyze. Just don't see myself using those too much. Alchemy, better potions, better health potions. I'm thinking it's not going to help too much in this fight, but I'm thinking maybe archery. What's in sneak? Harder to detect. Those sneak attacks do more damage. You work pressure plates. Daggers do more damage. Violent forward roll. Walking and running doesn't affect detection. Crouching stops combat for a moment. It's a long way away though. Let's go. What about light armor? We need 80 light armor. And this is just for matching armor, isn't it? 10% chance of avoiding all damage while wearing all light armor is pretty good. But we can't get that yet. Yeah. Let's put some points into archery, because yeah. Okay. Alright, we're playing around with it. No, we're not. He's playing around with us. Alright, well, for some reason, my attacks weren't attacking and my heals weren't healing. Like, my mouse just would not... Anything I was doing with my mouse was not registering for some reason. Yeah, and still, for some reason, my mouse just isn't registering any... Why? Why can't I do anything? Oh, okay. Free. There we go. Alright, well hopefully that was the final boss. Good amount of money. Lockpicking ring. Gold ruby circlet. Just to check, this hurts me, right? Yeah, okay. Not too much. Is that it? Was like just a straight shot? There's another little island over there. Maybe that's worth exploring. I don't know. But yeah, this is the Black Book. Interesting. Alright, well let's take these ruined books. I'm surprised Timaeus Mora has ruined books. There's that healing hand spell. Scroll gems, paralysis. Whee! Yeah, I think we've learnt healing hands already, right? Yeah. Ebony sword. Yeah, still good. It's black soul gem, Flawless diamond, gold. Magic from the sky. That's a pretty common book, isn't it? Or at least it was common in Oblivion. Yeah. Shazaran for Divines, I think we've read as well. No, we haven't. Okay. The House of Troubles. We've read. Poison Song we've read. Ring of Major Smithing's pretty good to have. Golden Emerald Settlement. Okay, Shazar and the Divines. By Faustulus Junius, Sub-Curator of Ancient Theology and Paleonumerology, Imperial Library. Yeah. One heck of a title. The position Shazar enjoys in Cyrodiilic worship is often misconstrued. Wow. Spelling error on the first line after that massive title. Shocking. He and 1,000 other deities have sizable cults in the Imperial City. Shazar is especially venerated in the Colovian West, though he is called Shor there, as the West kings are resolutely and religiously Nordic. The haziness of Shazar's relationship to the Divines, he is often called their missing sibling, begins with Saint Alessia, the so-called slave queen of Cyrodiil, founder figure of the original Cyrodiilic Empire. In the earliest Syro-Nordic stories of the Heartland, Shazar fought against the Aelids, the Heartland High Elves, on mankind's behalf. Then, for some unknown reason, he vanishes from the stage, presumably to help other humans elsewhere, and without his leadership, the Aelids conquer the humans and enslave them. This slavery lasts for generations. The isolated humans eventually begin to venerate the pantheon of their masters, or at least assimilate so much of High Elven religious practices into their native traditions that the two become indistinguishable. In 1st Era 242, under the leadership of Alessia, the demigod lover, Morrowhouse, Breath of Kin, and the infamous Pelinal Whitestrake, the Cyrodiilic humans revolt. When Skyrim lends its armies to the slave queen of the south, the revolution succeeds. The Aelid hegemonies are quickly overthrown. Shortly thereafter, White Gold Tower is captured by Alessia's forces, and she promptly declares herself the first Empress of Cyrodiil. Part of the package meant that she had to become the High Priestess of Akatosh as well. Akatosh was an Altmeri god, and the Alessia subjects were as yet unwilling to renounce their worship of the Elven pantheon. She found herself in a very sensitive political situation. She needed to keep the Nord as her allies, but they were, at that time, fiercely opposed to any adoration of Elven deities. On the other hand, she could not force her subjects to revert back to the Nordic pantheon for fear of another revolution. Therefore, concessions were made, and Empress Alessia instituted a new religion, the Eight Divines, an elegant, well-researched synthesis of both pantheons, Nordic and Altmeri. Shazar, as a result, had to change. He could no longer be the bloodthirsty anti-Alpha warlord of old. He could not disappear altogether either, or the Nords would have withdrawn their support of her rule. In the end, he had become the spirit behind all human undertaking. Even though this was merely a thinly disguised, watered-down version of Shor, it was good enough for the Nords. As for why Tiber Septim not attempted to revitalize Shazar during his wars against the Altmeri Dominion, we could only speculate that at this time, memories of the Alessian Order's follies, the Dragonbreak, War of Righteousness, the defeat at the Gilnumbrian Wars, would only damage his campaign for the Imperial crown. Interesting. Sorry about that. I had to pause for a quick second. Alright, Black Book, Filament, and Filigree. There it is. Quest complete. Now, what do we find out? Secret of Arcana, Secret of Strength, or Secret of Protection. Which one is which? I'm gonna save it. Okay, it tells you. Cool. The Secret of Strength. Power attacks cost no stamina for 30 seconds. That's pretty good. Spells cost no magicka for 30 seconds. So what's this one gonna be? You take no damage for 30 seconds? Yes. That'll be great. You take half damage for 30 seconds. Interesting choice. I think we're okay with stamina. I think I'd like some protection, please. And I think that sounds like this is like a greater power. Let's check. Magic. I think this is a power. Yeah, Secret of Protection. So yeah, pretty decent reward for not doing too much. And before we go, I did want to look at this island, see if there was anything interesting in it. We can take the burn. It's not going to be accessible, is it? Whee! Yeah, okay. I just wanted to check it out. Alright, let's go back to Solstheim then. We did accept this, right? Yeah, we did. Well, we go. Hey, that's not Solstheim. The heck? That was odd. Okay, so I guess I actually have to read the book here. Why does it not work? I have to actually die. One sec. Alright, let's try one more read. It just auto saves on the same spot. Now if I read the book, very strange. Now do I get to leave? No. Pardon me. Alright, I've just loaded a hard save that I did, and I read the book now, and it actually took me back to Solstheim. So let's try reading this book again. Maybe it was because I took the spell and then took the spell again. Maybe that caused it, I don't know. Let's grab the Secret of Protection. Then try and go back to Solstheim. Okay, it looks like we're good. I think it must have been because I took 2 spells.
If you're looking for passage, talk to Captain Gjalland.
Captain Gjalland does the business around here. I'm the ship's mate.
Yeah, yeah. You just saw me, like, wake up, or... I think I must pass out in this world when I read that book, don't I? They didn't seem very concerned. Like a book with, like, tentacles reaching out of it. No, doesn't bother anyone. Fine with me.
If you're looking for
Captain
passage,
Gjalland if you're looking
talk
to
to
book
Captain
passage.
Gjalland.
Alright guys, Captain Gallen's great, I understand. Let's go back to Riverwood and drop some stuff off.
Alvar and I, we got a daughter, little Dorothy.
So,
Someday, I'm going to forge my own sword.
This next song goes out to the Dragonborn, the savior of
Does it
Skyrim.
now? Okay, well... I want to have an ebony something of alchemy. Did I put it in my chest last episode? Okay. Yeah. Not very smart of me. Okay, well, we'll just have to do without it.
Alduin's wings, they did darken the sky. His roar
I only have one potion to make anyway.
fire, and his scales sharpen sides. Men
Wait, is
ran and
Faendal
they
with me?
cowered, and they fought and
Yeah,
they
okay.
died.
I didn't even bother checking when I came back from Solstheim, I just left. Still important. Still a book I can't drop.
They bled.
Alright. I guess we shall end the episode there. So we've completed the Black Book, Filament and Filigree. We had to fight a Lurker Vindicator, which was pretty tough. But other than that, it was just, oh no, darkness damages your health like once every 10 seconds. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, the Lurker Vindicator was tough. But we managed to take it down. Next up, oh yeah, and at the end of it, we learnt a skill called, or a power called Secret of Protection. So once a day, we can cast it and take half damage for 30 seconds, which is pretty good. I might even bother to use it once or twice if we're fighting like an Elder Dragon or something in particular. So that would be good. But yeah, that is that for that quest. Now, as for what we're going to be doing in the next one, we are going to be doing another miscellaneous quest this time. We're going to be bringing Elmas some Ashfire Mead from Burskmead Hall. I don't even remember the background to this, but apparently a guy called Elmas wants some Ashfire Mead. But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the next. Take care. Peace.